Welcome to the Cafe of Dreams. My name is Frank Thomas, and I have Lynn Kitchen. Welcome, Lynn.
Thank you, Frank. Thanks. Nice to be here.
Yes, absolutely. And we have an exciting show today. We are into part number 2 of talking about the Cafe of Dreams and what it represents and what it's all about. And we really just started getting into the meat of it last week. And if you haven't listened to last week's webinar, then you need to stop. There's a link inside the description. Go back and listen to it, or else you're going to be lost because we're not going to tell you everything we told you last week. So make sure you do step backwards and watch that show. It's really powerful. We started talking about a lot of powerful ideas, techniques, and things we can institute within our own lives to live our dreams. But today, Lynn is going to jump right in and start telling us about what she calls the 3 R's. Lynn, please go ahead.
Thank you, Frank. Well, again, the 3 R's of success, I'll call it, inside the Cafe of Dreams are your reasons, your recipes, and your resolve. And I think that I'd like to just remind people who were listening last time that we talked about this, Frank, the idea of paying attention to your longings and your discontents as clues, inner clues of what is it that's pulling you, what's calling you, what is there in life that really wants more for you. And I love that about the human condition because have you noticed that we're never happy with what we have, who we are?
We always want more. Yes.
We always want more, and I think that life itself programmed that into our DNA. Even a blade of grass can just push through cement, seeking the light. You've seen blades of grass, in little crevices of cement, and you wonder, how did that piece of life happen to just press through all impossible difficulties to become what it wanted to be, which was a magnificent blade of grass. Well, we do the same. It's life pulling us to be more. And I believe, this is my theory, that that's what our dreams represent. That in fact, our dreams that we may have a vision of in our minds or a longing for in our hearts are actually the language of life wanting more of itself. So to pay attention to our dreams is, I think, critically important. I find that 8 out of 10 people that I ask, what's your dream? Do you have a dream? Mm-hmm. They can't answer me. Why am I here? And so what was interesting was that we actually did some processing together, talking about these 3 R's, your reasons, your recipes, and your resolve. And it took a little time, but as a result, at the age of 92, she said, you know what, I do have a dream. I do have something new that I can create. She actually went inside herself and said, what else is there? What else can I do? What else can I be? What else would I love to experience? And so at the age of 92, she began writing a blog.
Right.
Whereas at the time, she asked me, well, what's a blog? But it's important to understand that at any age, there's a dream that can be uncovered and discovered with the help of, perhaps with the help, it always happens more pleasantly and more effectively and more with acceleration when you have a mentor, somebody that can help you forward. And that's actually one of the 3 R's. The 3 R's to success that I've come up with, that I've learned over time, at least with my background and in helping others. So I have the reasons, your recipes, and your resolve. Those are the 3 R's.
Okay, excellent.
So let me begin with your reasons. Your reasons will come down to, why are you doing what you're doing? Mm-hmm. Frank, why are you doing what you're doing? Why am I doing what I'm doing right here, right now on this video. Why? What is it that's pulling me? What is wanting to be expressed through you by the choices of your daily, your daily choices? And why would you want, let's say you have a dream or a vision of who it is that you want to become. Let's take a look at the why that's inside that dream. Why is that dream important to me? Why would I really love that dream? What would it translate into? What are the circumstances of my life that it would represent to me that I would love?
Mm-hmm. Now let me, and I don't want this to sound cynical when I say it, would it be important to look at the reasons why we do everything? Like there's things that we'll be doing that are not bringing us to our dreams, that are keeping us, let's say, in the ordinary grill or the victim diner. And
sure.
Why am I being angry? Why do I have a hard time sleeping at night? Why? And maybe we look at the negative and the positive to see how the negative is also telling us that we should be living the positive.
Absolutely. And I think, as we mentioned last time, I love this phrase that we are often pushed by pain until we are pulled by a vision. So it's two sides of the same coin. Mm-hmm. We can be pushed by pain and pulled by a vision at the same time. And it's really wonderful to stop and become more aware by these wonderful questions that we can ask ourselves, being inside a personal inquiry.
Right.
Is, I have found, the most pleasurable personal quest that I have ever been on, and it is unending. So yes, we can ask the word why for every part of our lives, whether it's health, whether it's wealth, whether it's our love relationships, whether it's our sense of purpose. Why do we want that? Why do we want this love relationship? Why do we want to be healthy? Why do we want the ease and grace of money in our bank account? Why is very, very important. It reveals our values.
Right.
It reveals our belief systems. Mm-hmm. And it reveals our thinking. And when we can reveal our thoughts and see where and how we're thinking, then it's quite easy to say or to understand, well, no wonder I'm producing this in my life. Mm-hmm. No wonder my circumstances are that in my life, because I'm thinking into it. I'm thinking this way. So if I have fear, doubt, poverty, lack all the time constricting me, I'm going to probably have the circumstances of someone suffering.
Yeah, suffering from those things.
Being in poverty. Mm-hmm. But we often have a concept in life of what do we want, how are we going to get there, and why do we and why. Well, I feel that's backwards. Why should come first. Why, then how, then what. Mm-hmm. So why, then what, then how, actually.
Yes.
Why first, then what would make that why come alive? And then how do I get that? So the why is always first, and I'm sure you've read the wonderful book by Simon Sinek, The Power of Why, and that why should come first. Mm-hmm. So I really think that truly is, the more clarity that we can have on our why, the better off we can be. And even when things aren't going right, the first question is why, and to become curious about the answer is the real trick. Right. That's where the magician can come in. That's where the magic can come in. That's where your mentor might be able to help you to become curious about the answer, not self-denigrating, but self-appreciating whatever that answer is, to value that answer, to get excited about that answer, to become curious about that answer. Like there's this old joke that says there was a gentleman who said, I don't want to get up in the morning. Mom, don't make me wake up in the morning. And the mother would say, time to wake up, Johnny. You have to go to school. You have to go to school. Why do I have to go to school? Why do I have to go to school? I don't want to go to school today. Why do I have to go to school? And the mother said, because you're 42 years old and you're the principal. And so we often think, well, what's the why behind what that we have to do anything, even get up in the morning? Mm-hmm. Well, oftentimes there's a responsibility that we have, there is something very important that is our calling. That is what is it that we're doing in the world? That's the why that can wake us up in the morning. And those whys are what we can become curious about, because that is the underlying stuff of what creates our desire to live.
Exactly. It's almost like, as you were telling that joke and describing the story, it made me think of when somebody is not well, they're unwell, they'll notice symptoms of unwellness. Ooh, I got I'm feeling stiff and I'm sore. And, the next symptom is, I'm getting a bit of a headache. And the next symptom is I don't feel that good. And in life, one of the symptoms of, as you say, discontentment is it's really hard to get out of bed. It's really hard. I find that when I'm doing things that I really enjoy and things are great, man, I'm out of bed at the crack of dawn and I'm ready to go and let's go. Why is it? And even when I go on holidays and I'm excited, I'm at this wonderful place, 6 a.m, let's go. I want to go. And then you get back to the drudgery. I remember when I used to get back to the drudgery of work, it'd be like 7 o'clock. I hear the alarm, bam, bam, bam. And I'm like, just shut it off, please. And it's almost like that's a symptom of a greater illness. And that is, I wasn't looking at my dreams. I wasn't creating the vision. I wasn't looking for the reasons where I needed to develop to live something bigger than what I already had.
Very well said. I think that we all have those feelings of again, discontent, and it is a process of self-discovery. I don't care if we are in school as a younger person, or whether we are a chief executive officer of a very, very high, powerful position, corporation. It doesn't matter. What does matter is, what is it that pulls us? What are we living for? And what are we living from? I like to say, to revalue our values, to actually revalue how important is it, and always have the question quickly at hand, how important is it? Well, when we're on vacation, that's a pretty easy thing to do. It's important to have fun, and suddenly fun, it becomes your number one priority in vacation. That's the answer to why are we here, is to have fun. And so to create perhaps the things that we want in life, to bring more fun into the workplace, to bring more of the values that we love into our lives, whether it's at work, or you, as I mentioned, you could be at the highest level of the corporate world as a corporate executive and still have those feelings of discontent.
Right.
So it is a cue and a clue to move inside and say, well, now what shall I do? Now what do I value most? And to become curious about those wonderful questions. Why am I doing what I am doing, and what would I love? So to answer the bigger question, why, is always followed by the next question, what would I love? Well, if I don't love that, what would I love? Well, if this doesn't feel good, what would feel good? So to really be open to the possibilities now, what would I love? That's a huge opening for many people, they've never really asked themselves. I used to never ask myself the question, what would I love?
Hmm.
I always ask myself the question, what do I have to do next?
Hmm.
What's on my to-do list that has to be crossed off next? Or in the same vein, what do I have to do that implies that I have a responsibility to others that I must do before I can truly live my own dream?
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's putting other people, places, and things first before one lives from the inside out of your own convictions.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to do with really answering the question, why and what would I love, to formulate living from a place within yourself where you might feel really excited to get out of bed because you're building something
Right.
of value to yourself, or you're impacting other people's lives, and that those feelings are answers to your why. We all have different answers to our own whys, and we all have different values, and we all have different beliefs. That's why we have different nations, that believe different things, and different cultures that believe different things. But to be really honest and aware of what is it that we're bringing forth into life creates an awareness of the answer to what is our why, which brings us into the second R, and that is what are your recipes.
Right.
The answer to the why is, what are my reasons?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first R to your success. And the second, I think, the second one, and only follows quickly, is what are my recipes? Well, that means what are the whats? What are the whats? What am I going to do now that I know what I love and why? Now, what's the recipe for moving forward?
Okay.
And again, that kind of moves back into the stepping stones and creating a blueprint.
Okay. Excellent. So let's say, for example, I see that, I'm trying to bring a good example out, and I'm just drawing a blank right now. When I'm trying to build my recipes, I'm really kind of looking at I have a vision, now how do I get there? Is that what you're getting at?
Exactly right. First is the creation of the vision, the dream. What is it that my heart would love to create? What is it that I would love?
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually define that, or have 4 categories of your life. In the area of health, what would I love? What would I love to experience? In the area of my relationships, what would I love? Whether that's marital, family, friends, or work associates, total gamut. What would I love?
Mm-hmm.
How would I love to express my love in the world? In the area of money, time, and finance, what would I love the results of my achievements to look like and to feel like? And how can I then give back to society my gifts? And then finally, what is my purpose? In those areas, what would I love my purpose to be? So one really defines a big vision and creates a life in our minds, and that is a recipe. So just like in a recipe box, you have a recipe for a finished cake,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to take these ingredients. It's going to take 1.5 cups of this and 4 pounds of that, and so forth. Well, each one of our visions is going to take some sort of a new self-generative idea that brings that about.
Okay.
If I want a healthy life, part of the recipe for that is going to be pretty obvious. But how many of us actually take the obvious and make it real?
Mm-hmm. That's very true. That's very, very true. Now, do you find that when you're working with clients and you're showing them, you've kind of defined their reasons and you're starting to build the recipes, is it good to build, when you're building that blueprint, to literally build a blueprint, to write it down, to to think it through on paper, to make it real? Do you find that helps?
Absolutely. And of course, I think that's what a really good mentor will help you do, to write it down on paper. A vision, as they used to say, that without a vision, the people perish. Any great vision written down has a better chance to come to pass than if it's just lying around in your imagination somewhere and never really gets solidified. I think that Walt Disney was probably one of our genius dream builders. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
In our generation, in our lifetime. And what did he do? He took these amazing dreams that he had in his mind, dreams that may have been dreaming him, actually, and he put it on paper and then hired people to draw the cartoons, which then became a living film. And so it all goes onto paper. It all becomes into the world. So our dream goes from the imagination into the reality, first by putting it onto paper as the first step, as a symbolic step, that the next step is going to be into our lives.
It's actually
that's pretty exciting. So yeah, you have to have the blueprint. That's the first step, and then the second one is the recipes and in what kind of thinking do I need to apply to that vision. And that's where, I think a really great mentor can help you with your thinking. What I mean by that is the power of the ingredients by which we're cooking up our vision. If we're cooking up with the ingredients, the thinking stuff of I deserve this, that's going to be a lot more powerful than the thought that I don't deserve this. So we get to work on the thinking, the beliefs underneath the manifestation of this wonderful vision that we're bringing into form. Just like a brand new baby comes into the world after 9 months of the process of the DNA that's already built into the human species.
Right.
We have this already built into ourselves. This is nothing new. But what I find that's new to people is the power of our thinking and the power of the thoughts that we bring to our vision will accelerate the speed by which our visions become reality.
You were talking about Walt Disney, and I wanted to add a little piece in there. You had mentioned that Walt Disney was dreaming and he was a great inventor of his time, and it's very true. I was actually reading a story. I had dug into his life story a bit, and he had actually envisioned things he couldn't make. The technology wasn't there. And when companies like DreamWorks and Pixar came out, they took his vision and made it a reality. And it made me think, if we haven't thought of things that are impossible for us, but maybe possible for our children or the next generation, we haven't thought long and hard enough yet. We haven't delved enough into ourselves to see if we've pulled everything out that is there.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Frank. And I know that you are an inventor yourself. So you have a natural affinity for asking yourself empowering questions of what else is there that would improve the lives of my children, just like that. And we all have those capacities. And it is truly the power, in my opinion, it's the power of the inquiry. And a great inventor such as yourself will have powerful inquiry, sets of questions of what could this be like if this condition weren't here? What could be the results if that condition weren't there? What could we do? And maybe it's something that's completely unknown to us today. Obviously, Thomas Edison was one of the great inventors of our time.
Yes, he was amazing.
Coming up with the phonograph, the this, the that. I mean, not just the telephone, but all of the different ways to harness electricity that he invented that none of us knew before. that then impacted entire industries.
Mm-hmm.
The movie industry today was impacted by his inventing the first movie projector.
Absolutely.
And the wonderful things that can happen by the process of our thinking into possibility. That's what the Cafe of Dreams is. I'm only just encouraging people not to be so shy about their dreams and not say, oh, my dreams are for somebody else or that's for kids. No, this is where we live. This is the meat and potatoes of who we are in life, which brings me to the 3R of our R's, the 3 R's of success, your reasons, your recipes, and your resolve. Your resolve. What do we do when we just don't believe in our dreams?
Mm-hmm.
What can we do when we start to negate that which is truly pulling us to the more?
Mm-hmm.
How can we really become conscious of what we can do with what we have, even in our limited scope, recognizing that there's something greater, our dreams, our visions, calling us into a higher level of who we can become, and yet we feel stymied, stuck, and limited right here, right now. What can one do? And the third R is truly resolve. How do you build resolve? And often we cannot do that alone.
Okay.
That's where I invite you and everybody to really understand the power of mentorship as a way of life, not just for maybe 3 months of the year, go out and get a mentor and just say, okay, I'm just going to have a mentor for 3 months, and if that doesn't work, forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
But rather, change your attitude and say, wait a minute, what if I could have a mentor for the rest of my life that can help me move up the spiral of my becoming to the next spiral and the next spiral? Somebody who's already been to that spiral can help me to the next step. Somebody who can be, and doesn't have to be the same person, can be different people along the way. But what if I am always reaching up to somebody so that I can be pulled up to the next rung of my existence? And at the same time, what if I value that process enough to reach out and help somebody else along the way?
Exactly.
So that we're always reaching up and always reaching out, and then we have a connection of mentorship together, and we all rise together. That is the power of mentorship, which is the connector, I believe, and the accelerator of how we can connect and grow together and truly create, become everything that we ever wanted as an individual, as a group, as a culture, as a species. I think that's the way it can work. So the third R in the success of resolve, how do we create resolve? Well, we connect with each other and we have partners in believing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's very important, too, the one point you had made, and we've talked about this in the past, and I think it's a really important point to bring up that you have actually brought to the table, and that is, yes, we need to get mentor or mentors who are maybe just a little bit out of our reach. Like right now, I've just connected with a fellow who has a lot of experience in a particular realm of business, and I've reached out to him, and I said to him, hey, would you mind if I asked you some questions and kept in contact? And he's like, absolutely. And I've already started that relationship because I've found that things could be either hard or easy. And it's when you learn something, it's easy. But before you learn it, it's hard. It's hard if you don't know how to do heart surgery. It's going to be hard if your friend has a heart attack and you have to do heart surgery. But if you're a heart surgeon, you're going to say, I got it covered. It's easy. I can fix this. And I found that it's important to find those mentors either in helping you fix things in life, like a life mentor. And I agree with you fully. You need somebody who's going to be there because it's like when I was taking guitar lessons. when I knew I had to go to guitar lessons, he's my mentor there, I had an obligation to ensure that I thought, practiced, and worked in his realm. And it forced
that's
me.
it for the accountability.
The accountability, that's the word I was looking for. But
Yeah.
not only that, it's the other way, like you said. It's like a chain. Mentorship is like a chain, and you cannot fulfill it. I know that there's an old saying, there's two types of people who come to seminars or these big events, and it's event junkies and people who want to do more things in their life. Now, event junkies come and eat the junk food. They just come and eat, and but they never go anywhere. They never do anything. And all it does is just build more discord and resentment, and it's probably not a word, or resentment in their lives, and because they're not doing the other part, which is hey, maybe they might not be able to do this, but maybe they can talk to somebody else. Or maybe they do it and then they pass that experience to somebody else as a mentor. And I was talking with a fellow for almost a year until he moved down into the States, and we still keep in touch. We still talk at least once a month. But we used to make it every week. We used to get together. And I went and did this because I could see that he was stuck. He was so stuck. Brilliant fellow. I really liked the guy, but he was stuck. And I could see in my mind, these are things you could do to unstuck yourself or unstick yourself. Your wheels are whipping in the mud and you're stuck and you're up to the axles. And I would challenge him and say, hey, have you thought about this, or have you done this? And that was it was interesting. But here's the point. Whenever you teach or whenever you give advice, every time you point the finger at somebody, you have three pointing back at you, I find. And I found that I learned more at times when I was mentoring than when I was mentored. Even though the mentoring was fantastic, there was times when I would say something and I'm like, oh man, I am challenged on what I just said. I should have not said that because, like I'm trying to dig at the speck out of your eye and I got a log in my own, so to speak.
Yeah. Oh, you sure? Well, it's a process,
Mm-hmm.
don't you think, Frank? It's a process that we all go through, and there are times in our lives that we value working with others who can help us, and then there are times in our lives that we rebel. We don't want anybody to help us, blah blah blah.
Right.
But there are also times that we actually, as the teachers or as the mentors, grow much more than the person we're mentoring, because the act itself is a growing dimension. So it's always said that when the student is ready, the teacher will show up. Well, it works the other way too. When the teacher is ready, the student will show up.
Right.
Because these are ways that we polish each other.
Mm-hmm.
We polish ourselves and each other as we move up the spiral of becoming. So it's all connected, it's interconnected. And you mentioned something really wonderful that I have loved in my life, and that is the power of a mastermind, which is a group of people coming together with the intention that we all become partners in believing for each other. And we allow each person to speak about what is the circumstances of their day that they are working on, and then each person will become a partner in believing and making suggestions to that, and it often helps to unstuck and rivet the imagination to move forward. So there's many different methodologies that one can take part of, whether it's mentorship or a master-mentor masterminding.
Mm-hmm.
And there's even leadership. In leadership in the corporate world, it's all about mastering the art of helping others and leading others. And it's the same concept, but many of us really don't take advantage of it. And I am here to say, if one does, your progress toward what you will love and the life that you would love to lead will change significantly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the 3 R's, let's just recap them, Linz, for our audience, the reasons the recipes, and the resolve.
Right. Your reasons, the why that you do anything is what will pull you forward. Your reasons, the blueprinting, the power of your thinking that goes into becoming the kind of person that you want to become, the thinking changes along the way. And then finally, your resolve. What do you need when you just can't seem to do it by yourself? A wonderful mentor or a group of mentors, a leader, or a masterminding situation, that will be amazing.
Exactly. Actually, talking about mentorship, I know, Lynn, that you've just built a course and are putting together something called Smart Money Mastery. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, I'm bringing forth a new course. It's called Smart Money Mastery. It's a 4-part series, and the first course within that is going to be crafting your vision about money. What would you love? Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the next courses is going to be how do you create the kind of money in your life that you really know that you are capable of producing. And also this is self-generative, because the money that we make is a reflection of the value that we bring. So the gifts and talents that we have to bring to the world that manifest into a paycheck or into a consulting contract or into anything that leads to value coming back to us is nothing more than a result of what it is that we're creating, of who we're becoming again in life, and what would we love. So I'll be teaching all you ever really wanted to know about creating the kind of money that you'd like to bring into the world. Mm-hmm. It's called Smart Money Mastery, and we'll be answering questions about the things that are holding you back in your money life, and what is it that you would really love.
Exactly, and I think that's extremely important, because money is not happiness, but boy, it really helps when you want to try to manifest and build your dreams.
I think it's freedom. You know,
exactly.
Money is evidenced, and it certainly helps to create more freedom in one's life. And don't we all want more freedom? It helps us not only just to pay the essentials that we need to live, but also it opens doors, it provides opportunities, and it allows us to give back. And not only that, but it creates the luxury of time. For example, if we want more time to enjoy our family, our friends, so forth, it often is a reflection of the freedom that we've built
right
in the area of our money.
Right, excellent. So that is Smart Money Mastery, and our listeners and our viewers can get more information just by popping over to your site, Lynn. That's thecafeofdreams.com. That's thecafeofdreams.com. Sign up to Lynn's list, and she'll be sending you information on Smart Money Mastery. Correct.
Thank you so much, Frank.
Excellent. Thank you, Lynn. Very, very, very good again. Very good. It's been a good session. I always walk away. I'm a little bit dumbfounded at the end because I always have lots to think about after. So I do apologize. But Lynn, thank you for opening up our minds to live a greater dream, a greater life, and to finally become a patron, as you say, in the Cafe of Dreams. Thank you again, Lynn.
Thank you.